Hi everyone, welcome back to Make It with Mod Podge. My name's Cathie and today I'm going to show you how you can make these really cool tin wallets. Now these are like breath mint tins, and you can recycle or upcycle real breath mint tins, or you can buy blanks like these. Look how cute these are. You can customize the inside. These are great for stashing a little money or a sewing kit or a first aid kit or chapstick and little breath mints. They're so fun and easy to do. I'm using matte Mod Podge and scrapbook papers to create all of these different designs. They make great gifts and they're great craft show sellers. Let's get started. So I'm starting with these plain tin wallets. These are like breath mint tins. They have a hinge, they open up, and I'm going to use some Full Cart home decor chalk just on the top of the lid because I want to make sure that this is super durable. I'm not worrying about doing any of this priming for the inside. I'm using matte Mod Podge for this, and I'm using these scrapbook papers and those little scrapbook embellishments. So the first thing you're going to do is trace the box, the tin, and for this is the lid portion. So I'm tracing the lid onto the paper, and we're going to go ahead and cut that out. And this will be the paper that I use on the very top. Now for the inside, you want to make sure you trace the bottom because it's going to be slightly smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and trace that out. And I did go ahead and trace out another piece for the top. So you can see I cut that out and it's going to fit in there. And now I'm just measuring the wall of the inside, and I find that a 12 by 12 scrapbook piece of paper is plenty large enough. So go ahead and trim that to size. This is about, I think, a little bit over a ½ inch. And then we're going to peel that up and then just start gluing that around that inside inner lip. Now, of course, you don't have to decorate the insides of these. You could just do the outside, but I think it's really fun to open them up and have the decorations in there also. So you can see, you just glue that down, super easy. I'm going to seal that with more Mod Podge, but let's get that down. And then we're going to go ahead and use that same Mod Podge to glue down the inside bottom of the tin. Let's go ahead and get that into position. And I'm just pressing with my finger to make sure it's got no air bubbles, and then I'm top coating. I'm just doing a thin top coat over the entire thing, and that will seal down all of that paper and it will make it super durable. Next, I'm going to add some pearls just along that seam there. Again, you don't have to do this step. I just think it's really fun to go all out in decorating these. So I'm just gluing some pearls down, and I'm going to go all the way around the inside edge. Now for personalization, I'm going to use these rubber stamps that I found, and you want to use permanent black ink when you're working with Mod Podge. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp out the name of Delilah's teacher, which is Nancy. That was her homeroom teacher this year. So I'm going to be filling this up for her with a gift card and with some fun desk things like some fancy lip balm and some fancy mints, and of course that Starbucks gift card. So we went ahead and stamped out her name, and then I'll trim that to size and we'll attach that with Mod Podge also. And I've got a few other little cutouts here. You can buy these scrapbooking paper embellishments in packages. They're usually themed out by like flowers and birds and butterflies or sports, all different types. So look for those types of things in scrapbooking sections. They look like stickers, but they're actually just paper cutouts. So they're really perfect for working with Mod Podge. So you can see I'm just layering and collaging my pieces down, and then I'm going to top coat over that whole thing to make sure that's really sealed down too. I'm going to add some gems to that, just a little here and there. So for this project, I did a combination of crystal clear flatback rhinestones and those little flatback pearls. But you know, you can just coordinate your decorations or your embellishments to whatever the style of the tin is. Look how pretty that looks when it's all dried up. Okay, now let's do our cover. Back to that original paper that I cut out. We're gonna go ahead and Mod Podge that down. And if it gets a little bit too big on one side, don't worry, because we are gonna trim that away. So let's layer up our collage pieces. You can see I'm going straight over it with the Mod Podge. It's all gonna dry clear, so you don't have to worry about that milky white right now. And you can just really continue to layer the pieces up. Now for the top coat, I'm gonna do a pretty thick top coat because this might get banged around in a desk drawer or in a purse. So I really wanna make sure that's good and secure. And we're gonna let that dry, and don't worry, we're gonna cut that part off. So once it's dry, you can go ahead and just trim that extra off, and that'll make a nice finished look. And you can leave it like that, or if you wanted to, you could go in and do a little gold or silver leafing on the edge. So for this one, I did a little bit of silver just to match the silver of the tin. And I'm adding some gems to the top of it as well. I love this little copper color, so beautiful with that pastel peach of the butterfly. So you can really just decorate these however you want, but I do love adding these gems, and you can use gem glue or Mod Podge. Look how gorgeous these all turn out. Let me know which one is your favorite. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I hope that this little project has inspired you to think about how you can upcycle some of those little containers that you might have around your house. I'll be back here next week with another fun project to share with you. And until then, have a super crafty week. Bye.